That was funny. Every other candidate says,
Okay, the time is 6:30. I'll call
yeah, that
this
was a bad move.
April 10th, 2017 work session of the Snellville Mayor and Council to order.
I just don't want to say it.
First, we'll review, anyone have any questions or concerns about the regular business and public hearing agenda? I do understand that on the Springdale Road contract, we just got that in today. Council's not had a chance to look at it, so when that comes up on the agenda, I will ask for a motion to postpone so that we have a chance to look at that contract before. Spend some time on it before we have to vote on it.
Dave?
And on the Gwinnett County DOT, the donation, that is usually just governmental courtesy, professional courtesy, out of maintaining a relationship that you donate the right-of-way for, city donates to the county for a county project, county donates to the city.
Didn't we do the same thing out here? And
Yeah.
we donated some to the county out here on
Okay.
the green too, didn't we, for that additional lane?
We did.
Yeah, so it's,
I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
any questions on that from anybody?
Will that win us points with some of the other things we're trying to do now?
We hope.
Yes.
It certainly gives us something to remind them about.
Yeah.
Quid pro quo.
Okay, anything else on there? It's pretty,
I assume Nicole
Pretty cut and
Irish is
dry.
headed through the,
okay, next to the correspondence, do you have any correspondence?
I do, but it's for executive session.
Okay. City attorney's report?
Got a few things.
Okay.
First matter, we need to address at the next meeting for the agenda, selection of mayor pro tem.
Yes, we didn't do that in January. Melissa, would you put that on next, on the regular meeting agenda for next meeting?
Noted.
Ongoing, or project that I am finishing, I will have the IGA for the library market, the Gwinnett County done this week.
Great.
Have that to you all.
We get that to the county this week?
Sure, I don't see why not, yeah. One of the DOT condemnation actions involves the property, the old Sims gas station at Clower. We were actually able to collect $300 some odd from an old sanitation debt that was there. They are now caught up and there's no money owed. Luther Beck, who represents DOT, is asking for if we can authorize a settlement with Sims to go ahead and say that we don't have any problem with them settling, that we're not owed any money.
Do we have to, what do we have to, do you have to get something from us?
No, you just have to, y'all have to tell me it's okay for me to sign off
They
on
don't
that.
owe us, they don't owe us. Right? Anybody have a problem with
I
that?
don't know what's anymore.
No, like I said, I couldn't believe we collected $300 from, it's like 4 or 5 years ago, actually. It was a while ago. 6 years ago.
So
we can pay our city attorney bill, that's good.
There we go. Okay.
On that design IGA, can you shoot a draft out to everybody?
Of course.
Before you send it?
Of course, we'll do that.
And that would still be a draft to the county too.
Sure,
Right before it
they're gonna
goes
come
into-
back
They're
with
gonna
that.
come back with
With
At least
changes.
that
Gets us
gets the
started.
bookmark.
Okay, let's see. There is one nuisance action that is currently pending, that's at 2815 Hickory Circle. We've been contacted by the people who purchased it, but they keep telling us they have not received their deed under power yet, and there's nothing they can do. I told them that we're not dropping anything, that we're going forward until the director of planning tells me it's been cleaned up, and then that they've paid all their fees.
Why would they need a warranty deed? I mean,
That's-
if they've closed it, it's in their name. Yeah,
I've explained that.
yeah.
Actually,
Let's see.
that would be the last one.
Also, just to give you all a quick update on the personnel policy background
Yeah, here's
checks
11.
issue. We have finished our preliminary draft of the releases for the background checks as well as the changes to the personnel policy. However, I think my understanding is the There's some other folks in our departments that want to have an opportunity to get everything fixed at one time, so we're going to give that another couple weeks to get that addressed. I think the other matters are already on the agenda for 1 through 9, so we'll address those as we get to them. And there will be a need for an exec session.
Right. Okay, so that takes us down to our discussion items, Butch.
We do need an executive session update on the town center. A couple of meetings have been held that we can update everybody on. Joint city and county plans. I understand that there have been a lot of discussions, and hopefully we will move quickly to get something in the county's hands there. And then there'll probably be a little negotiating period, but we'll get something to them, like Chuck said, this week. The public relations marketing, I know some filming was completed with Lincoln Phil and Wild Wing Cafe. We do have a committee update. Guess we're going to meet with Jeremy tomorrow afternoon to see where we are progress-wise. So we'll have a report back on that. Town hall meetings, I guess, the best thing to say there is everything's on hold until we see some clear progress on the town center that we need to bring forward to folks.
I'd like to shoot for our next one being, if this is possible, once the contractor's selected, and they figure out how they're gonna stage the project and
Yeah.
kind of the phases of that, that would be an awesome town hall meeting.
And I suggested to DOT that we meet with the contractor first and explain to them exactly what we're looking for, what we want to, how we want to lay everything out to the public, make it very clear to where, there are fewer questions.
Yes.
So if that would be okay, that's kind of the way we're going to proceed.
Okay.
Okay, good. The UDO, I think I sent you the last update from Caleb. Are we close to wrapping that up?
Yep. I
Jason?
just gotta look over it one more time.
Okay.
He sent it last Friday.
Good, because I think he'll
That's
come.
the revised version of the original one, so
Yeah.
it should be good to go.
Yeah, well, if he'll, and then we'll be ready for him to come back and let the council know exactly, explain the diagnostic report and the steps necessary that we need to take to get this thing finished.
Yep.
And of course, there'll be another contract that we'll have to look at. It's gonna cost a little more money to get to the finish line, but he's working on that also. So it's, like I said in that email, it's taken a while to get to this point, but at least we'll be certain about the steps we need to take, and you will have given him clear direction for where we want to get to at the end. Charter Review Committee, complete. Chuck, everything's,
Everything's done, been approved by the Secretary of State, the publishing's done, and Melissa sent the communique, so
okay.
it's done.
Roundabout construction, that's also an executive session item that I need to talk to you about. I think I gave you a little heads up in the weekly update that I sent last week, but I'll flesh that out for you in executive session. Oak Road Park, I don't know if you guys have been back by there or not. It looks very good. I think the fence that went up makes it look good. We've got to talk about where do we go from here? Do we stain it? Do we paint it? This week there should be concrete poured for the pavilion. Playground contractor may or may not be there this week, but they're going to make it clear to us where everything's going to be placed. As soon as we get a layout, we'll be glad to send that to everybody.
Do we have a date when that's going to be completed?
Well, I think I said late May, early June. I really think with good weather, it'll be before that.
Okay.
He has until, in his contract, he has until, I think, June the 7th.
Okay.
But,
We also want to, as soon as we know a date,
yes.
schedule a ribbon cutting for that also.
Right. 78 and 124, we are going to be sending a letter to the business owners, updating them, reminding them June 17th is the let date, and we're going to be providing them information on temporary signage, letting them know.
Question, are there fees involved?
But we'll waive those fees, can't we? I mean, I think they ought to be waived.
I would be the first to agree with that.
I mean, that's something that,
I mean, that's
it's
the last thing I wanna do is have
we're the
a
ones
business
going
owner
there
walk in there
and,
and tell them we're gonna end
but I
up
wanted them,
forcing them to
you
pay
know,
fees.
I wanted them to know exactly what they could do. You don't want to encourage the flags and banners
Yeah.
that we worked so hard to. So,
Well, let's just make sure there's not, I mean, that's just one guy saying it. Don't have any fees for this
Well-
temporary signage stuff. That seems counterproductive.
But it's, we just need to stay in communication with them, and we're working on detour signs and have another update meeting with GDOT this week. So just trying to keep them updated on where we stand.
Do we have any pardon our progress signs in the works?
That's what we're talking about. Pardon our progress.
And the whole bit, okay.
Detour. The first quote we got was ridiculous. So we're going with more quantity and
Less quantity.
and that's why we put that in here, that you know, we hope that they'll be cooperative. We've got to put a lot of signage on. It's got to go on private property. So anything else there, Eric? We do have an intern, Ryan. What's his last name?
I caught up with that today.
Okay, but I mean, he's a very mature senior at Gwinnett Tech, and he'll do a good job getting this information out to the
I'll
business.
go out with him for the first hour or two to just do a bunch with him and then
Yeah.
have him to do the rest.
But impressive young man. I'm glad he wanted to work at for no salary. The outreach coordinator, I think you have interviews scheduled, Christie?
Not quite, but we're almost there. I'm getting apps. We're inducting new students next week too. So
Good deal.
tons of things going on right now with that. We are moving in a direction.
Okay. I know you've gotten several recommendations for your
Yeah.
advisory
I haven't had anything from council
committee.
yet, so I will go ahead and make the appointments next meeting. If anybody, you all have anybody, let me know, but I haven't heard from anyone.
For, this is for,
The
sorry.
retention, business retention
Okay.
and attraction.
yeah.
The public safety technology, once again, working through the budget there. We'll lay all that out for you when we meet in small groups and then as the full group. We have our vendor meetings tomorrow with Mallory and Evans and Jim Thomas. We've got some issues to try to resolve and get those numbers down. So I'll send something out in an update on Friday, let you know about that. I have heard nothing more about the Arts Commission. If you haven't taken a few minutes, I know Bobby's worked with them, worked with Nedra and Jim Coper and them, I guess David Snell, on this, it's a great historical exhibit in here. I mean, people could spend a couple of hours going from one piece of that exhibit to the other. It'd be a good idea to, it's really neat. You learn a lot about the history that we've had and the people that have been involved in growing our community. You bet. And we're adding, we will have a report for you on the audio visual in the courtroom next time. You'll have a full report on what we need to do, and it is. We'll also ask their opinion on the coloration on the screen that we've noticed the last.
Can we bring it back around Christmas time?
Last few meetings. which has nothing to do with the projector, and those professionals will
The
take.
data line.
But, as I said, I do need a few minutes in an executive session.
Okay, Southeast corrections for rate increase. I'm gonna let Chuck explain that to you.
When it comes to probation, there are different classes of cases that are supervised, and the legislator has changed the way that what they call pay-only cases. These are misdemeanor probation cases that literally are just being collected for fines, who's not reporting to a probation officer. So those, I believe, were previously, we had contracted, I believe, at $25 a month on those cases. But the legislator has now limited them to only collect for 3 months of those, which drastically limits their abilities to collect those monies. This has already been addressed by several of the other, Lawrenceville has already vetted all of this. They've agreed to go to the $40 per month model. I believe Gwinnett County is also at a $40 per month. I was under the impression there was going to be someone here today from Southeast, but I don't see anyone here. But that, my understanding is that is their request, is that we go to $40 per month on those pay-only cases. And it's like that's what Lawrenceville has already done that after being fully vetted. Tony and I discussed that quite lengthily.
This is not something we have to vote on, we just make whoever the judge and the mayor sign.
That's correct. So the negotiations in these cases are done through the chief judge, through Judge Lang, but they ultimately have to be signed off by the mayor. Also point out, this is not money out of the city's budget. Those fees are paid by the probationers. So there's no money coming out.
Anybody have any problem with that?
Wait, so you're raising the fees on people going through the process to pay their fees?
It's,
I wasn't saying
Well,
why.
it's not
Why are
like-
you doing that?
but it used to be like $25 a month, but it could be over 12 months. Now that it's $40 a month, but it's only 3 months.
Oh, to collect.
Just for the handling probation.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because the state
And
deemed
as a
it
matter of
worthy
fact, our
to shorten
previous,
that period.
the previous company charged $40 per
Mm-hmm.
month. So it's- So we just let the judge know that that's okay. So, speaking of that.
So that
not to
doesn't come
interrupt
back
you,
to be voted on? That fee increase?
I don't think the council votes on it. I think it's because it's a contract with the court, actually. You know, but we just want to, if there's a
But the
problem
mayor
with the
does- the mayor does
council,
have to sign
right,
it.
if there's a problem with the council, I want to be aware of it before we tell the judge
no
to,
problem.
okay. Speaking of that, where are we with the fine updates?
I guess the numbers aren't ready yet, but they've done most of the comparison,
Yeah, she's
comparable.
pulling the information. We have it set for the March 24th agenda.
Okay,
April
I mean,
24th.
April, I'm sorry, April
Okay.
24th agenda.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We'll get it before, we'll get it, can they get it, try and get it to it before the package? I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
I can do it.
give us some more time with it. Okay, next thing is the discussion of the amendment to the solicitation ordinance.
And that, again, the solicitation ordinance, that deals with, we have an ordinance that requires anyone that does solicitation, that's door-to-door residential solicitation. I'm not necessarily talking about the other kind of solicitation sometimes people think about. We have an ordinance that you have to be fingerprinted before you can get a solicitation license in Snellville. We were notified by the GBI, who is in charge of the Georgia Crime Information Center, which does the fingerprints and the reports, that our current ordinance didn't pass the FBI's requirements for doing fingerprinting on their national database. They gave us some suggestions, which the chief passed on to me. We made those corrections. I provided them back to the chief. The chief reviewed that I had made all the corrections that GCIC, GBI was asking for. Sent it back to them a week ago, and we've not heard back from them yet that they've said, well, yes, you've done it right now or not. But as soon as that gets the blessing from GCIC, we have a resolution ready to present that just says these changes are to be made in the resolution. And it's all procedural things. It doesn't really change the nature of the ordinance at all. It's just some wording that they wanted included in there.
Any questions on it?
Can you forward that to me? I just want to see if it's still exempt for religious reasons, and I think if you're not asking for money, you're exempt as well, if I'm correct? From door to door,
I don't think any of those
for
changes.
campaigning?
No, we didn't change any of that. This is, we added a line that, it's subject to what they refer to as the Georgia umbrella statute that says, local municipalities can, make ordinances they believe in the best interest. There was, some wording about the proper terminology of the federal statute that's referenced, but we didn't change.
There's really not substantive
There's no,
changes.
it's all, there's nothing substantive, it's just literally some procedural changes that they wanted in there. But I'm happy to send it to you, there's no problem.
Controls are still in place.
Okay, is there anything else that anyone would like to bring up for discussion before we go into exec session?
Melissa, is it included in there?
Seeing nothing? During the work session of the mayor and the city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Witz announced that certain matters should be discussed in a closed session of the meeting, and as council advised, the city's respectful